The Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association and your local cable provider presents Cable Reports. Join us now as Cable Reports brings you up to date on current issues facing the Commonwealth through discussions with your local legislators and other policymakers from across Virginia.
Welcome to a special edition of Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association, connecting Virginians to their government. I'm Woody Evans. We're pleased to have special guests from the administration of Governor Terry McAuliffe, Secretary of Administration Nancy Rodrigues. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Thank you for having me back.
Great. And Lincoln Saunders, good to see you. You are Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Dorothy McAuliffe, and also a policy advisor. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much for having me, Woody.
Now, I understand that there is a significant announcement you have for our audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of weeks ago, Secretary Rodrigues and I were able to join our governor and First Lady to announce that Virginia has become the first state to be qualified or considered an employer of national service by the Corporation for National and Community Service, which is the federal agency that oversees the AmeriCorps and Peace Corps programs.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it really started with a conversation between the First Lady and General Stanley McChrystal. General McChrystal and a number of other national leaders are leaders of an organization called the Franklin Project. And what the Franklin Project aims to do is to establish a national culture of service and to develop the expectation that every young American would have the opportunity to do a year of service.
Now, are these individuals who have taken advantage, for example, of AmeriCorps or the Peace Corps in the past, and we are trying to attract as employees both public and private?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. There's over 900,000 alumni of AmeriCorps in the U.S. and over 200,000 returned Peace Corps volunteers, individuals who've worked in other countries on a number of community projects, and obviously in AmeriCorps in the U.S. to work to do community building and capacity building to solve problems within those communities and abroad. So those individuals bring a unique set of skill sets, leadership, commitment to mission, and problem solving that would be unique assets to our state workforce if we can recruit and attract them to look at state service as state workforce as a chance to continue their service.
And this is all part of the attempt to diversify the new Virginia economy, if you will, is it not?
Absolutely. It's a key component to making sure we have the best individuals leading our state and leading our workforce to create the greatest opportunity, and to also make sure that our young people are getting the training they need to compete in that new economy. And national service is a great way for our young leaders to kick off their post-education experiences and get some real-world, hands-on experiences dealing with unique problems and working within their communities and giving back. The reality is that the living stipends, et cetera, for our AmeriCorps and Peace Corps volunteers are not overly generous. It's a sacrifice for these young people to be part of that type of service, and this is a way for the state to recognize that sacrifice and service and skills gained and developed in that opportunity, and a way to encourage young people to look at national service. I think it's important for employers to look at that experience positively, and this is a way for a young person when they're entering the workforce to say, you know what, I think that service experience would be a great addition to my resume and a great way for me to connect with future employers. And so for Virginia to be a leader on that and to be the first state to be an employer of national service is a real opportunity for us to signify our commitment to that type of experience. And then in return, we have this, the support and network of those 900,000 alumni of AmeriCorps and 200,000 of Peace Corps for Virginia's kind of good faith effort in this area to be communicated to them so that they will look to us as a place to continue their service.
And this certainly presents you, Nancy, with an exciting opportunity because you have all of the human resources responsibility for state employment in the Commonwealth.
Absolutely, Woody. When Lincoln and the First Lady approached us about this idea, we became very excited because if you look at the qualifications or application for National Service, Peace Corps, AmeriCorps, it sounds like it's a job description for state employees. Yeah. Flexibility, sense of humor, commitment to public service. So it was just a real opportunity for us, especially since our state workforce is graying. It's starting to look a lot like the two of us.
Absolutely.
Woody, and a little less like Lincoln over here. But the reality is 1 out of 10 state employees can retire today.
1 out of 10.
1 out of 10. By the end of my tenure, it'll be closer to 1 out of 4. So we really need people who are committed. And being a state worker is really, truly almost a spiritual thing at times, because it is a call to public service. There are people who have the patience of Job and really are trying to help their fellow man. And last time I checked, we're not exactly, anyone in public service doesn't go in it for the money. So that's one of the reasons why Virginia is so welcoming to individuals with that type of experience, as well as our veterans who certainly put others first.
Can you give us a typical profile of a state employee in the year 2015?
I appreciate you asking me that. Yes, as a matter of fact, I recently did an article for Capital Connections on that very topic. And it's alarming. Our state employees have not had a raise since 2007.
Since 2007?
2007. So imagine, if you will, not even a cost of living raise. In 2007, we had no state employee receiving food stamps. We now have 1,900.
1,900 on food stamps?
On food stamps. And that does not include over 3,000, over 3,000 receiving federal aid of some sort, like the SNAP program.
Right.
So these are all areas where, despite it all, the state employees have continued to do their job, making Virginia still a leader for economic development in the country. And yet we really need to start taking care. One of the things I point out in this article is that 60% of our state employees are either overweight or obese. And they're dealing, when they self-report, what is the number one thing? It's stress on the job. So I do believe we really need to help our state employees, which is why we're very excited that the economy, the new Virginia economy, has started to turn around, and that we're able, hopefully, to look at increasing some of the salaries for our state workers, pending, and again, it's all pending on the revenues. So I hope all the viewers will continue to go out there and purchase and have more and more confidence in the Virginia economy, because we do see things turning around.
Lincoln, I think our viewers might be interested in how those who may be interested in becoming state employees through this program apply, for example. How would they go about doing that?
Well, you apply through jobs.virginia.gov, which is our state employment portal, and on that website you can learn more about employers of national service and about Virginia's commitment to our national service alumni. But through that jobs.virginia.gov site, you can learn about all of the great opportunities that the state workforce has to offer for individuals with a diverse set of skill sets.
And
go ahead.
If I could just add one quick thing, as Lincoln has pointed out, that job site is key. But we also have two things on that job site now that I think your viewers may not realize. We are dealing with a younger generation, so you can actually sort all federal state jobs that are available through telework. So if we have viewers who are looking for a telework job, that we can tell you through the jobs. The other thing, which makes the Peace Corps so exciting to us, is that Virginia is becoming more diverse. And we do need more and more state workers who have the ability to speak a foreign language. So you're also on that job website able to search for jobs that require a different language. And it could be Arabic to Spanish to whatever. So we're very excited.
And what we want to encourage is for veterans of national service to highlight those unique skills that they developed through their service experience in their application, in their description of interest in these Virginia jobs. Tell us how that foreign language will give you an asset, or how the leadership experience you gain through national service will make you a strong fit for this opportunity.
Give us the sales pitch for someone who is an alumni of either AmeriCorps and a Peace Corps as to why they may want to become part of the body of work here in the state of Virginia.
Yeah. Well, I would say many of the individuals who worked in an AmeriCorps experience worked with, probably through their jobs, worked with somebody who was a state employee, members of our local social service offices, or our teachers and other communities. So this is a chance for them to move from having been, it's kind of a full-time volunteer in service and support for a lot of those state employees to now kind of graduating to becoming one, and being part of the system, being part of the change that we know we need to adapt to the times and the unique challenges that Virginia faces. So it's a chance to take what they observed and learned from their service and apply it to a real position, and to really move forward in that way.
In a little bit more detail, let's talk about what the Commonwealth of Virginia has to offer in terms of employment. Now, you've got a lot of responsibility. You've got general services, we talked about human resources, you've got the State Board of Elections, and you've got the Compensation Board. That covers quite a bit in terms of employment opportunities in the state of Virginia. Talk to us about general services and what it does.
Well, general services essentially are the landlords for the Commonwealth. We also handle about $7 billion a year in the Commonwealth's procurement efforts.
$7 billion.
$7 billion. So making sure that we get the best value for all of the taxpayers of Virginia. We also handle the laboratories, where if anyone has had a newborn in their family and that little prick, we make sure that that baby has a healthy chance for their future by testing for genetic diseases. So again, even though I have a very diverse secretariat, I truly believe the best and the one with the most assets of the Commonwealth. What I will tell you, there is one striking theme. They are all so committed to public service. I mean, if it's bad weather, as we were experiencing, DGS is out there putting salt, making sure that the roadways are done. Sarah Wilson from our Department of Human Resources is checking the weather to make certain whether we'll have flex time. All of those things come into play. I will tell you that people in national service will find lots of kindred spirits here. They will find these are all, you take a state employee, and by the way, 8% of our state employees are veterans.
8%.
8%. So you will find that we have a workforce that really feels that they get up every morning with a sense of purpose. They get up knowing that government can make things better for them, their families, their neighbors. So it's just, that's the one thing, Woody, that I would say goes across all of my employees in administration. They're really out there, and we are the administration that really tries, or secretary that really tries to take care of the people who are taking care. So we're the caregivers.
Lincoln, you've been involved in state government for some years now. Tell us about your experience and why you think it's a great opportunity to provide the public service that you do.
Absolutely. I think my first opportunity in state service was honestly as a fairly young kid, as a page right here in the General Assembly when I was 12 or 13 years old, I forget, which really kind of started me on a, I just haven't been able to get away from state government since. It's been, a really defining experience for me. I came back when I was in college as an aide to a member of the House of Delegates and stayed active in Virginia service in politics between then and going to college and getting my master's in agricultural policy. State government, the state of Virginia, the Capitol always keeps calling us back to serve, as Nancy can speak to as well from her time serving numerous governors and administrations. It's the ability to make change and to do good and to work on behalf of the people of Virginia. It keeps calling you back. It's a wonderful experience.
Well, what are some of the specific policy initiatives you're involved in on behalf of the First Lady?
Well, the First Lady is really committed to bridging the nutritional divide in Virginia that separates Virginia's families from the quality and healthful foods that they need to learn, to grow, and to thrive. So just a few months ago, the week before Thanksgiving, the governor signed Executive Order 34 establishing the Commonwealth Council on Bridging the Nutritional Divide that the First Lady chairs, and I work with her to staff and support. That group has been given 3 large goals by the governor. The first one is eliminating child hunger in Virginia, which is an issue we have been working diligently on since we started last January. We're also working to support Virginia's agricultural economy and to build that new Virginia economy around agriculture in many significant ways, and working to support Virginia's farmers and to help through that expand access to quality, healthful foods, the bounty of Virginia agriculture, and draw that connection together. And then also to work with our local community initiatives that are working in their own ways to bridge the nutritional divide and to highlight them so that their good works can be shared with other communities, so that it can be emulated and learned from, and so that throughout Virginia we'll be working to address child hunger and support our farmers and create access to healthful foods. So that's kind of largely been where we've focused our time. We've had a lot of success in the last year working to expand access to programs like the Summer Meals Program. In Virginia, when school ends in the late spring, early summer, a lot of kids don't have the same food security that they did throughout the school year because they've lost that access to school breakfast and lunch. And we only reach about 14% of the students who are eligible for a free and reduced lunch in our schools with the state summer meals program. So we've been working to expand access to that, and last year we saw a 22% increase in June service over the June of 2013. So that was a great success. And then there's also a new program called Community Eligibility Provision that helps schools serve students, can serve every student breakfast and lunch in a high-need school at no cost to that student or their family. And the reason we have been working so hard on that is that when you can kind of create that universal access and reduce the stigma associated a lot of times with the free meals and free breakfast, what you're really doing is helping the students who need it most first. And so we've been excited to make that progress and to work on the community eligibility provision. And 89 schools in Virginia enrolled in its first year in Virginia, and we'll be working to add to that list in the next year. We also have been working hard on school breakfast programs and a number of other ways that we're working to address child hunger in Virginia. It's really the governor and first lady's goal that by the end of their term in office, there won't be a single child in Virginia who goes to school hungry, because we know that a kid simply can't be hungry to learn if they're just plain hungry.
Right. And Nancy, you've got a bunch of dedicated employees who manage a fleet of about 6,000 vehicles.
Yes.
Talk to us about the work that they do, especially in terms of using alternative fuels, for example.
there are so many things going on in terms of energy, not only with the alternative fuels for vehicles, but also all of the, again, this governor has been very, very active in the energy arena. So I think you will see, we've even gotten to the point, Woody, where a lot of state vehicles are actually falling off. We're actually doing much more consolidation and using enterprise cars in order to reduce the size of the fleet, because it doesn't make sense that at one point every secretary had a vehicle. Certainly I don't need a vehicle and rent a vehicle only when I need to do so on state government. So there has been, I think one of the alternative fuel is to decrease the need for vehicles themselves.
And of course, people with background and experience in AmeriCorps and the Peace Corps who've worked in different countries can bring a point of view and perhaps new ideas of how we can conserve energy, use renewable sources of energy, and those kinds of things as well, can they not?
Oh, absolutely. I think that you get a really a diverse and unique set of experiences through that national service or through that international service, and you can bring that back. I mean, it's certainly, as I mentioned with the Council on Bridging the Nutritional Divide, we want other local communities to learn from one another and emulate their success. There's certainly successes internationally that we want to bring back to Virginia and to learn from in our own community. So that type of experience we should be pulling from you know, the globe. Virginia's competing on an international scale, and we need to learn.
And let's face it, how many employers can boast that Thomas Jefferson, Patrick Henry were part of their workforce? I mean, we really offer something quite unique here in Virginia. And we have a history of public service, both, and just the fact of, if you look at our two senators and how much they're shining in Congress right now. I just think Virginia is a unique position to offer people who really want to get involved and bring innovation. I don't know if you could feel it, Woody, but I can. Just Lincoln's energy right here. I mean, imagine everyone like that in the Patrick Henry building. We understand that we're here for a short time. And we understand that there are things that we've been given to work with that came through the hard work of others. But we want to build on that, and we want to grow with that. I know for myself, and I think I've mentioned this on your show before, I am, you know, English is not my first language. Right. And I came from public education, and I came from parents who were immigrants to this country who did not have an education the way that I've been given. So I truly believe that what all the Jeffersonian principles of public education, I mean, even though I was born in another state, I profited by the leadership and the governmental efforts of the Commonwealth without even realizing it. So again, I'm really hoping that we can capture through this public service, through our veterans program. Public service is not for everybody. It's not for the faint of heart. There are long hours. It's a thankless job. And sometimes it's like an emergency room doctor. The people that you've helped the most will never know who you were. But so long as you feel that you have it within you to do that, I would really encourage to join, again, a workforce that we have some very noted employees.
Lincoln, I'm sure there are a lot of discussions with the First Lady and the Governor about the reliance, unfortunately, that Virginia has on the federal government and why it's so important to diversify the economy. And obviously, this initiative will diversify our workforce and aid in that endeavor, don't you think?
Absolutely. I think the Governor talks often about the negative effects of sequestration on the Virginia economy and how that has challenged our state. It's been a big part of some of the budget issues that we've been having, and it is a real signal to the future that we need to think about new opportunities for Virginia and new ways to grow that economy. So it's kind of a big part of why the First Lady focuses so heavily on agricultural opportunities and expanding that market for Virginia's farmers, so that there can be more jobs and more growth and economic development in that area. And then again, this the chance to be an employer of national service and create that culture of service in Virginia that we hope also trickles down to other employers, private employers, cities, and nonprofits in Virginia.
But I want them first.
But we want them first. We want first dibs, absolutely.
We want them first dibs.
We want the first applications, but we hope that helps bring more talented individuals to Virginia, or helps more Virginians go get that service experience and come back to serve their local communities.
Back to the state of affairs of our current state employee base. Now, the budget was released this past Sunday.
Correct.
How close are we to getting state employees a raise, in your opinion?
I think it all depends upon the financial report. I think the governor is very committed. He has said that since the get-go. Don't forget, when he introduced his budget, we were still cutting. So now that we've had some encouraging indications, the first thing on everyone's list, House, Senate, and of course the governor, is to try to do something with state employee salaries. So I am as optimistic as I can be about the economy, and I am feeling better in the economy. This governor has created more jobs than the last two governors combined. So at this point in his term. So I'm very excited and optimistic. I do think, though, state employees shouldn't go out and spend the raise yet, because this is all, even the Senate and the House both have in there, based on the June 30th financial report.
Right.
So we could have all the best intentions in the world, as we did last year, but then all of a sudden something happened in the economy to do it. But I'm delighted to say that state employees, and I think part of it is because the citizens of Virginia are starting to realize just how forgotten their state workers have been. As we said, no pay raise since 2007, and 1900 on food stamp.
Well, they tell me we're out of time, but
Oh.
we're very pleased that you've been with us, Secretary Nancy Rodrigues.
Thank you
and
so
Lincoln
much,
Saunders, Chief of Staff to the First Lady, Dorothy McAuliffe. Thank you for watching this special edition of Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association, connecting Virginians to their government. Until next time, I'm Woody Evans.
Mm-hmm.